My name is Laura. My husband is behind the camera. You're only going to hear him. We're going to be discussing today body temperature. This all came about because of this whole COVID-19 situation going on here where we live. We have to take temperatures of, my husband is a soccer coach, so we have to take temperatures of all the coaches and the kids every single practice, every single day, because we practice every day. And one of the things we noticed, my husband actually noticed, is that...
Now, I didn't notice it. Coach Crow noticed it. He's the one that takes the temperatures.
He's the one that takes the temperatures. But every morning, my husband meditates. And when he would get to the field for practice, they would take his temperature, and it would be like, what temperature, hon, on average?
94.
94 degrees.
92.
93, 94, 95 degrees.
No, it never gets to 95.
Never to 95?
No. But
okay.
94 or below.
For those of you who may not remember, the typical normal quote-unquote body temperature is 98.6. My husband's is way below that. And so they asked my husband why, and he said, well, I meditate in the morning. Well, one morning came up where Coach Crow took my husband's temperature, and what was it?
96.
So it was higher than it normally is when he takes his temperature. And he said, whoa, you must not have meditated this morning. And my husband said, you're right, I didn't. Which led us to start talking and thinking about body temperature. Because my husband has said, I can lower my body temperature at will if I wanted to. I thought, well, is that a good thing? Honey, is that a good thing?
Well, the way I responded was, if you remember, I was in communication when I decided to get serious about, receiving, being what we say a medium, right?
Right.
To help the Ascended Masters get messages to different individuals. I got in touch with this individual in England, remember, in London. Mm-hmm. His name is Dr. Whale. And we communicated for a while because I wanted to find out how he did things after reading one of his books. And he literally has designed a machine that the way this machine works is it heals people, or it heals animals, any living thing. It heals any ailment or condition by looking at the frequency or the temperature of that particular area. Mm-hmm. Right? And what he does is, remember we were to travel there to buy one of the machines.
We were.
Right. And then I was told not to because I don't need the machine to do healing work. We were going to use it for healing work.
Right. We were planning to set up a whole physical office until my husband was told, everything is energy. You don't need physical things.
Exactly.
I was like, ooh.
And that's why we didn't do it.
It's right? Awesome.
Right. And we were excited about the machine.
We were.
It sounded fantastic. Mm-hmm. But the way it works is this. And the examples that he gave are, one example he gave is, let's say, for example, you have a challenge with your left knee.
Okay.
There's pain in your left knee. Well, what he does is he takes his machine and he takes the temperature of the right knee. Mm-hmm. Because there's nothing wrong with the right knee. So let's say now the temperature of the right knee is, oh, here's the other part. Every part of your body can have a different temperature, by the way. So they say it's 98.6.
For your average body temperature.
But literally, if you were to take your body temperature, you take it from your forehead like we do with this machine, right? The whatever that thing is called that we
thermometer.
use. Okay. You could do from the wrist.
Right.
If you check your body temperature, your wrist and your forehead, they're different. They won't be the same.
Right.
You can take the temperature of your body anywhere. It's not just your armpit or under your tongue. Mm-hmm. Okay. They just figured that somebody came up with this, that came up with 98.6. They figured by placing it on your armpit or your tongue, it comes closer to 98.6.
I see.
That's how. Whenever you hear average, you should always be careful.
Right.
Because it's somebody that decided, oh, you know what, this is the average thing, and then everybody wants to be near that, but you might not be near that. That's why I find it intriguing how people, oh, my blood pressure is so high. Really? What makes you say that? Because the average blood pressure is so, but who says that you're average?
Right.
Well, let me ask you a question. If I told you your IQ was average, how would you feel?
I feel fine with it.
Really? You're my wife. You get up average IQ. What's wrong
I
with
don't know what my IQ is anyway.
It doesn't matter, but it's average. You don't want average. You never want average. You want higher than average.
I want higher than average.
Thank
I'd be
you.
mad. I'd be upset. So
Yeah.
you're bringing in emotions that I don't want. So I'd be
No,
fine.
those are good.
Different.
Hey, you're a Mahang. Mahangs have high IQs. If we have to pump some into you, we're going to do that. You don't sell for average IQ. What's wrong with you?
I didn't want to bring emotion into it.
Good emotions. Get your emotions in. Good emotions. All right? Anyway.
How do you have good emotions about being average? Okay, let's go back
Good,
to your
good
experience.
emotions are then you want to be better than average, right?
Let's go back to the explanation about the experience
Right.
of the temperature.
So, right.
and
So the
just-
point is, average is just something that someone put together.
Mm-hmm.
Your blood pressure could be higher than the average. It doesn't mean that you have high blood pressure. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
What they have to look at is the history of your blood pressure. Has it been that way since you were a kid?
Like my dad.
If that's the case, you don't have high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Your blood pressure is normal for you. Make sense?
Yep.
So, if everybody watching, don't get carried away with all this stuff about average this and average that, average height. Forget it. Anyway, that's just my opinion, by the way. So what you do is, going back to the knee example, so let's say you take the temperature of the right knee, which you don't feel any pain, there's no discomfort there.
Right.
Which then tells you, more than likely that knee is fine.
Okay.
That knee, the temperature for that knee is, let's say, 98 degrees
Okay.
Fahrenheit, right?
Right.
More than likely, when you check the temperature for the left knee, where you're having all this pain,
Mm-hmm.
the temperature will be, what do you think it will be, higher or lower?
Well, if it's inflamed and there's pain, I would think it'd be higher.
Bingo. It will be higher because it's an inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
So you expect it to be higher. So obviously you take the temperature for the left knee and it's 102.
Mm-hmm.
So now you know there's a problem. There's an
Right.
imbalance. So what he does is he takes this machine using color, it's color vibration is what he
Okay.
does. Okay, he actually uses gems, and the light is passed through the gems, which then create the frequency to heal. Hear that? To create the
Yes.
frequency to heal the temperature there. So what does it do? Because you want to cool the area, he uses a certain color, and then he adjusts the temperature to the same temperature as the right knee, which in this case would be 98 degrees Fahrenheit.
Adjusting it with light frequency.
Exactly. So then he puts it, and then he just focuses it on the left knee until the temperature becomes 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Guess what happens when it becomes 98 degrees Fahrenheit?
It's healed.
It's healed. The ailment goes away. So the ailment was caused by an imbalance in the frequency in the knee. So the temperature went up.
Okay.
So that goes back to answer your question. When someone is not feeling right, does that mean it's an imbalance in the body temperature? Not necessarily body temperature, but it's the temperature of that specific area.
Right, because I know when I've worked with individuals when I used to do massage therapy, and they would have something going on with their elbow, let's say, I could physically feel the heat built up, but the rest of their body did not feel that way. So that's quite interesting. Yes.
So then how does that apply to what we do? When I go to do healing work with anybody, it's pretty much the same thing. I look at the body part, look to see, compare with the other one, see how it looks, and then it lets me know, okay, this one is off. So let's make sure that this one becomes similar to this one. That's how it works. Now we have different ways of doing that. We have different techniques. We can use the light energy, vibration.
Right.
We can adjust the frequency. We can do it different ways, or we can have the actual body, like the body elementals for that individual, do the work. So there are different ways of doing it. And again, once we start training individuals, they will learn whatever technique they feel more attracted to. Because you don't have time to learn all the techniques. You don't have to learn all of them. I just learned all of them because my spirit guide knows that the more they let me know, the more comfortable I become. Otherwise, I'm very skeptical about things. So they're like, we have to just give him everything so he can test it for himself and see if it works. So they're patient with me that way. But people that are not skeptical, like you're not skeptical. So you just have to learn one thing and then you're fine.
Yay!
Me? I have to see all of them and compare all of them and see
He has
which
to
one
try
is most
everything
effective.
because he's a scientist.
Yeah.
One thing is not enough. You have to just like when we go to buy a piece of furniture or something, I have to get 3 referrals for stuff, or it's a whole lot of work that has to be done. But then, okay, going back to temperature, my other thought that I had that we discussed a little bit was knowing that your body temperature is normally low.
Oh, my
Lower,
temperature.
yes,
Okay.
yours, when you have meditated,
Okay.
and even looking at the temperatures that we had recorded of individuals, I started to think, well, no one in the morning, their body temperature was like nowhere near that 98.6
Right.
average. So does that mean that possibly our bodies should always stay at that temperature? And what happens is as we go about our day, our body becomes inflamed from the foods we eat or the activities we do, and that's why our body temperatures go up?
You're asking a lot of questions. How many? Which one do you want me to
Oh, will you
answer?
please just answer all of them? I was just trying to get all my thoughts out at once.
Half of them that you asked. Sheesh. What you're pretty much asking is if your temperature goes beyond 98.6 degrees or up to 98.6.
Up to 98.6, right. Does that mean that the body's already inflamed if it's already at 98.6? Because that seems fairly high based on your average body temperature. Our son's, mine, first thing in the morning, even mine was not 98.6. It was like 97 point something. So I was just thinking,
Well, you just woke up.
right?
Now, normally when you wake up, your body temperature should be higher, right?
Right.
Because you're under covers and everything.
Yes,
Unless-
you've been layered
unless you
up
sleep
and
like
resting.
me, where you like the cold. Man. Maybe mine is lower because I sleep in the cold.
I don't know. I couldn't answer that because your body feels hot to me all the time, so I don't know.
That's because I'm laying beside a sexy lady, so the body stays.
Okay, let's not get personal here. I'm just saying, your body feels hot to me. My husband loves the winter. He goes out with just a t-shirt on sometimes, because he likes the cold.
Because I feel
Me,
warm.
I like layers. Give me the layers. I don't like
Right.
summer, but I'll take winter and just give me all the layers I need to stay warm.
How does
So-
that apply to anything?
I don't know. My body temperature is always higher than yours, yet I feel cold.
Well, yes, because you have all those layers on.
But I feel cold. Wouldn't you think I'd feel warm? If my body temperature is higher than yours?
Maybe you should stop buying layers from the dollar store.
Oh my gosh! He's trying to make this personal. I don't
Is that where you're buying your layers from?
know.
One jacket for $1?
Do they sell
That-
clothes at the dollar store?
How would I know? I don't know.
Oh, well. There we go.
I'm making my comments. So-
Okay then. But really, with the body temperature, does that mean if you're getting up to 98.6 that the body could possibly already be inflamed? Was my question originally.
That's a really. I never really understood your question in the first place. I guess it just really hit me what you're asking. Okay, so you wake up. What you're assuming is that your body temperature in the morning, like when they take mine in the morning, that's my normal body temperature.
Right?
But what if it's not my normal temperature?
Well, when they checked you in the afternoons for games, your
The-
body temperature was about the same as the morning.
I don't know.
So how do you explain that?
The
Well,
only-
no,
the only
I know
time-
that because I've got all the records. See, again, I'm the record keeper.
See, the only time they complain is that one time when it was high.
Right.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, they
don't
just say,
anything.
oh, okay. They just record it for me.
Well, okay, let's go back to your question. If we're assuming that somebody's normal body temperature, a regular body temperature is, let's say, in my case, 94 degrees, 95 degrees.
Uh-huh.
Then if it gets to 98, then yes, there's something that's not right.
Okay.
Because it normally is 94, 95, right?
Mm-hmm.
But each person will have to be able to track his or her own body temperature on a daily basis.
To find out their average.
Exactly. Again, people just go and assume that their normal body temperature is 98.6, and that's not very accurate. Somebody's body temperature could be 99, and they're actually fine. It could be 100, as long as that's what it's been
All the time.
all the time, right? You
So
know?
now when someone meditates, does that mean that their body temperature will go low, like yours?
It should, because keep in mind that you're practically slowing down your body's metabolism, your physical metabolism.
Okay.
And when you slow that, when the rate of everything is lowered, the flow of your blood is what generates the heat, right?
Right.
Because it circulates everything in your body. So if that's moving slowly because your heart is pumping slower, then of course your body temperature drops. It can go below 90 degrees easily. You know?
Do you feel cold when this happens to you?
I don't know it's happening to me. It's like I'm laying there saying, "Oh, I'm going to lower my body temperature." I'm not doing that. I'm just meditating. That's just a byproduct. That's just a side effect or a byproduct of meditating.
But you don't feel cold, though, is the point. When you're meditating, you don't all of a sudden start to say, "Oh, I feel chilly, like I should put on a sweater or anything."
I don't pay attention to how I feel.
Oh.
I'm meditating.
I'm trying to use them as an experiment, and it's not working now, is it?
And it's, like again, see, you might be thinking that maybe I'm there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to lower my blood pressure, or I'm going to lower my...
No, I don't think you're going to be doing that. I'm just thinking you're going through, you're meditating, you're doing whatever it is you do, and you just have this thought, oh, I'm feeling cold.
No, because see...
Or your fingers might be cold
No,
when
but
you're
see,
done.
that's what I'm saying. If you're meditating, how could you be feeling cold when you're meditating on what it is you're meditating on?
Oh.
If you're feeling cold, that means you're distracted.
I see. So you're not even, you're oblivious to
Exactly.
what's happening to your physical body because
Bingo.
you're so focused on what you're meditating on.
That's correct.
I see.
So if you're
Which
feeling
tells
cold,
me I'm definitely not meditating properly.
now we know when we say that you're not centering, we know you're not centering.
I'm working so hard to try and clear my mind.
What's on your mind?
I don't know. Thoughts just keep coming into my head. Just how do you stop all of that? That's another video. That's another video topic. Well, actually, no, that's a training. That's not even a topic for a video. We need to just do classes on that.
No, but see, again, you stop that very easily. You know what you're supposed to meditate on. You've been told what to meditate on.
I know.
So then what you do is you focus on that. We just had this conversation.
I know,
Maybe
and
a
I
few days
start
ago,
focusing
whatever.
on that,
Right.
but then other stuff happens. I'm like, oh wait, I got to get back again. So then I feel like I'm starting all over because I have to get centered
It takes
on that
practice.
thought again.
It takes practice, you know.
Okay.
It's just like with soccer. We tell the kids what?
Muscle memory will
Muscle
kick in
memory.
one day.
Exactly. And you've seen it. When it kicks in, what happens to those kids?
And they look so different.
Exactly,
They
right?
look like they've been doing it their entire lives.
They look like some clumsy starter. Oh, look at the latest one we have, right? We won't say his name.
Right.
But it looks like 2 left feet. Like, this boy will not learn to play soccer anytime soon. And what happened?
He's
a starter on the
yes,
varsity team.
he's doing really well.
Right.
Muscle memory kicked in.
But what was he doing when people are saying social distance, everything? He came here.
He still worked hard.
And-
He
but-
still
but he
came
came here.
and worked
It-
one-on-one and did all
Exactly.
kinds of things. Yes.
And we have to give credit to his parents who were like, you know what, we just want him to be ready. And he wanted to play varsity because last year he didn't play varsity. He wasn't good enough. And I told him, you're not good enough, you're not ready for varsity. And he knew about our guys that already graduated from high school. They're playing college ball, like our son.
And they were
He
working
came
out.
and worked with them. And
Yeah,
they
this is
pushed
a
him.
story for another time, but
Yeah, and they pushed him really hard, right? And no, it's the story for now because it actually fits with what we're talking about.
oh really?
Right, because think about it. So here he is, he's working really hard, and I remember one time his foot, he injured his foot. It was in so much pain, and he still came the next day. So what are you doing? He said, Coach, I have to work out because they won't be here long. They'll go back to college soon. He could have easily said, oh, I'm in pain, I won't show up, I'm injured. He showed up anyway. See, that's expecting yourself to be beyond average. Before he was
Okay.
below average. That's why he didn't make it to varsity last year, you know? But he was determined to make it this year. And me telling him that he's not good enough, he could have used it as an excuse to just give up and just say, you know, I'll never make it. Instead, he pushed hard. And even when people were saying, you should be at home, you shouldn't go to anybody's house, you should be social distancing, And instead, he was here. They were pushing him. You saw it every day. I mean, for hours they were out there. And they're going up and down the hill. We gave him some tough workouts, and he wasn't doing it. Now he's a starter. How does that apply to what we're talking about?
Yeah, how does that apply to body temperature?
Well, it's not just body temperature, but it goes back to what you were saying. You're trying really hard.
Right.
And you don't see the results yet. Well, you have to keep going, because the more you go, muscle memory will kick in one day. When? We don't know. But the more often you practice, the quicker muscle memory is developed. And soon enough, it's going to kick in. So it's not time for you to get frustrated or say, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? You should never ask those questions, because it's just a matter of when it's going to happen.
Got it.
There's nothing wrong with you or anybody else. You're not doing anything wrong either. All you have to do is focus on what you're supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to do. Focus on doing it. Right? Because soon enough, it will kick in. And when it kicks in, you'll be like, I can do this. And you won't be able to explain why you can do it. Just know, okay, muscle memory is kicked in. And this applies to anybody, right, that wants to improve. So how does it apply to temperature? Well, it's the same thing. We say, if your right knee is healthy, your left knee is ailed, what happens? It's at a different temperature. It's a higher temperature, right?
Right.
Well, here you are. If you're trying to meditate so you could be centered and you can start doing the things that you know you can do, but it's the only thing holding you back, when you think about the fact that you haven't progressed to where you should be, what happens to you?
I can get frustrated.
So how does that compare to temperature? It's the same thing. See, you look at it as temperature, but we always describe it as what? Frequency.
So it's all about just adjusting frequency.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right? For the body, it's temperature, because that's how they describe it. But even temperature,
that's how they measure the frequency.
Exactly. The temperature is nothing but a frequency.
Okay.
Got it? The hotter something is, the faster it's vibrating. So the frequency is higher. Well, not higher, it's faster. Right? So the wavelength is faster. That's all it is. It still goes back to frequency.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
All right.
All right. If this video has helped you want to share it, feel free to do so. You can find us at 190vision.com, 190vision on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as well. We'll see you again.